Hi, I'm Dave Priestley, and I just had a message I wanted to give that I think is going to be very helpful in a lot of areas. In my office, I'm having lots of people come in and they're just expressing a handful of things, such as, man, evening times is so chaotic at my house, or I'm having a hard time getting my kids to wake up, or my son keeps falling asleep during class. I'm getting calls from his teacher, or my kids are just irritable. We're having a hard time. Um, I'm having a hard time communicating with my daughter. Just different stuff like that. I'm hearing just an array of just different things, and which is I would call normal at a counseling office. I would expect to hear those different things, but this is something that you might not expect to hear. I'm finding that lots of times, lots of these different scenarios revolve around one thing, and or this one thing that I'm going to express to you is an aid in helping in these different areas, and that's the bedtime routine. I'm finding that just across the board, as people come in, there's just an array from here to here of just different routines that are happening, or basically not routines that are happening. Um, Sometimes we go to bed at 8, and other times it's 10:30, and sometimes the kids go to bed at 2 after the parents go to bed after they're done playing Xbox, or kids are on Facebook, or there's just an array of different things that are happening in regards to this bedtime routine or bedtime. And so my hope is that I can help people recognize the importance of this little routine that we need to establish, especially for young kids. Probably also for us as adults would be a wise thing, but definitely for our involvement when it comes to young kids and bedtime. So think of it like this in regards to that routine. Obviously, the no-brainer here is that if they get enough sleep, then their performance is better. They're not tired. They're not as irritable. I mean, just the importance of sleep, and we all know what that is. But the one thing that I want to present is maybe something that we don't think about, and that is how we engage with our kids during the bedtime routine. And if there's ever a time to connect with kids, it is just prior to going to bed. And I think that we really easily miss that boat often. If I'm finding that as people establish a healthy, good routine, day to day to day, they're having extremely good communications with their kids during that time, and they want to engage in that. This is the time of day to just sit down and communicate about how things are going, how their friends are, how they're liking school, what they don't like about school, some of the pressures that they're feeling, some of the good things, bad things, challenges, all that go with that. This is a great time to communicate those things. One thing that I'm going to express is the importance of a dad's involvement during this process. For whatever reason, frequently dads just kind of back out of that. It's pretty easy for a dad to sit and watch TV and holler at the kids to go to bed. I'm seeing that frequently. And I think that as you engage in a routine with your kids during bedtime, you're just going to be pleasantly surprised at what that does for the dynamic of your interaction with the kids, and what that does for the dynamic of your family as you engage in that process. It just becomes different. And I want to encourage that. I want to encourage kids to, I want to encourage parents to take that time, to use that bedtime to just establish consistency and be part of that consistency. I know for myself as a dad, as my kids have grown up over the years and started to, engage with them at a young age and read to them and different things, that has just been the time. That has been the time that communication takes place, and it's a quiet, safe time that can happen. I just would like for all of us to maybe take a little analysis and relook at what that bedtime routine is and how engaged we are in that as caregivers and parents. How engaged are we in that routine? Is it just telling them to go to bed and be done, or are we engaged in that? And don't let that end with just grade school age kids. Don't be afraid to use that time to communicate with kids that are a little bit older. You'll be pleasantly surprised at but the positive impact that has for yourself as an individual and the dynamic of your relationship with kids and within your family. So bedtime routine, I encourage you to look at that. If you have any questions, give us a call at Priestly Mental Health. We would gladly answer questions on maybe how to establish that, how to work through that, so that could be a healthy, positive, good part of your lives with your families.